Hey, everybody, and welcome to our deep dive today into the world of Rebo wine.
Rebo.
Rebo. I feel like I haven't heard that one before.
Yeah, it's an interesting one.
And we're going to learn all about it, right? We're going to go way beyond just the, oh, this is what it tastes like,
Yeah.
or, this is how much it costs.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's learn about the grape itself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where it comes from, all that good stuff.
Yeah, today's really all about Rebo's story. And, we're going to go all the way back to the vineyards of Italy in 1929.
1929. Okay, so we're not talking like some ancient Roman grape or something.
No.
Like passed down through the generations.
Yeah, exactly. But,
Yeah.
Picture this, Professor Rebo Rigatti. He wanted to create a grape that had like the toughness of Terrell-Dago, but then also like that smooth elegance of Merlot.
Interesting.
So it's like a blend of the best of both worlds.
Yeah, like a custom-made grape.
Yeah,
Okay.
almost.
That's fascinating.
Exactly. You know what they were really going for was adaptability. And, our sources really dive deep into like the ideal environment for Rebo,
Oh, cool.
starting with the climate.
Okay.
So think about Trentino in Italy, where it was born.
Okay.
They've got these sunny days, which get the grapes all nice and ripe, but then those cool nights for balance.
Ah, so it's like a perfect day for humans, but for grapes.
Exactly.
I like this.
It's that perfect balance. So
Yeah.
does that mean it can grow anywhere? Well, not exactly.
Yeah.
It does have some preferences, let's
Right.
put it that way.
Okay.
Will-drained soil is a must.
Right. You don't want soggy grapes.
No soggy roots allowed.
Yeah.
But, the ideal soil, it's like a five-star hotel for Rebo.
I like that analogy.
It's got to be fertile, good structure.
Okay.
Something like clay or loam would be great, to hold in moisture and all those nutrients.
So it's got all the amenities.
Exactly. The
Yeah.
spa treatment for the grapes.
All right, so we've got sunshine, we've got cool evenings, we've got great soil. What happens next? What's next in the life of a Rebo vine?
Well, that's where, those meticular vineyard practices come in,
Okay.
which our sources really emphasize.
Yeah.
It all starts with the rootstock.
Okay.
It's like the foundation of the plant.
Right.
Choosing the right one is like, setting the stage for a great performance.
Because it affects the whole plant, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Things like disease resistance
Oh, okay.
and how vigorous the vine grows.
Yeah.
It's really about making sure that Rebo thrives in that specific location
Okay.
that it's planted in.
So the roots are in place.
Yes.
What's next?
Pruning.
Pruning. Okay.
Think of it as a strategic haircut for the vines.
Okay.
And what's fascinating is that Rebo actually prefers a short pruning style.
A short pruning style. So, like, they chop off most of the vine?
Not exactly.
Okay.
It's more about leaving only a few buds per cane.
Ah.
Now, that might seem kind of counterintuitive.
Yeah, less is more.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Less is more when it comes to Rebo grapes.
Huh.
Because it actually helps to concentrate those flavors in the grapes, making for a richer and more intense wine.
So by chopping more off, you get more flavor?
In a way.
Yes. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm learning so much.
It's all about balance.
Okay, so the vines are pruned.
Yes.
What happens next?
Well, then we come to the moment of truth.
Ooh.
Harvest time.
Okay.
It's all about timing here.
So like picking the grapes at the exact right moment.
Exactly.
But why is that so important?
Well, imagine this.
Okay.
You've got sugar levels,
Okay.
acidity,
Yeah.
and those special compounds that give the wine its character. They all have to be perfectly balanced,
Okay.
to get that really delicious flavor and structure in the wine.
So if they harvest too early or too late, it messes everything up.
It's not going to be as good.
Okay.
It's like hitting the bullseye.
Yeah.
And winemakers, they'll literally taste the grapes
Oh, wow.
to determine if they've reached that sweet spot.
Oh, wow. So there's a lot of pressure
There is.
on those grape tasters.
Yeah, it's a science and an art.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got the perfect environment. We've got the, really particular pruning.
Right.
And then this high stakes moment of harvest
Yes.
where everything has to be just right.
It does.
Okay, so now we're ready to go into the winery, right?
Now we move from the vineyard to the winery,
Okay.
where the grapes undergo this amazing transformation to become the Rebo that we know and love.
I'm excited to hear about that. But before we do,
Yeah.
can we just quickly recap what we've learned so far?
Absolutely.
So Rebo is all about balance,
Yes.
right? Starting with the climate in the vineyard.
Right. Those temperate conditions.
Yeah.
Sunny days, cool nights.
Yeah.
And that five-star hotel soil.
Yeah.
And then we've got that, precise pruning technique.
Yeah, just a few buds.
Just a few buds
Per cane.
per cane to really concentrate the flavors.
Okay. And then, of course, the high-stakes moment of harvest.
Yeah.
When everything has to be perfect.
It does.
Okay, now are we ready to step into the winery?
Let's step into the winery.
Okay.
We're going to uncover how those carefully harvested grapes transform from humble fruit
Yeah.
into this complex and delicious wine.
All right, let's go.
So get ready for some fascinating insights into the world of winemaking.
I'm ready.
All right, let's do it.
Awesome.
All right, so welcome back to our Rebo adventure.
Yeah, we're ready to go into the winery.
All right, so last time we left off with those, perfectly ripe grapes arriving at the winery,
Yes.
ready to begin their transformation.
I'm excited to see how it all works.
Yeah, so where do we start?
Where do we start?
Well, the first step is maceration.
Okay.
Picture this.
Okay.
The grapes are gently crushed,
Okay.
and the juice kind of hangs out with the skins for a bit.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
Yeah.
So what's happening in that hanging out time?
Well, this is where the magic really starts to happen.
Okay.
It's all about extracting color and tannins from those skins.
Okay.
Think of it like steeping tea. The longer you steep, the stronger the flavor, right?
Right, yeah.
Same idea here.
So more time with the skins means a bolder, more tannic wine.
Exactly.
Okay.
And for Rebo, the winemaker actually gets to choose how long that maceration lasts,
Oh.
which really influences the style of the wine.
How cool.
Yeah, so a shorter maceration will give you a lighter, fruitier style,
Okay.
but a longer maceration will create a wine that has more structure and complexity.
So it's like the winemaker is a conductor, guiding the orchestra of flavors.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
So after maceration, we move on to fermentation.
Okay.
This is where the real alchemy happens.
Okay.
This is where the yeast transforms the sugar in the grape juice into alcohol,
Okay.
which makes wine,
Yeah, fermentation, that's a word I've heard before.
right.
But how does it actually work?
Well, imagine you got these tiny little yeast cells,
Okay.
and they're having a sugar feast.
Okay.
And as they do that, they release alcohol and carbon dioxide.
Oh.
It's this natural process that's been used for centuries to make wine.
So it's these little microscopic yeast cells that are the real heroes
They are.
of winemaking.
They're essential.
That's amazing.
It is, and here's where things get even more interesting.
Okay.
The temperature of the fermentation also impacts the flavor.
Oh, so like cool fermentation versus warm fermentation.
Yeah, exactly.
So a cooler fermentation
Okay.
will preserve those really delicate fruit aromas.
Okay.
Like we talked about, those fresh berries.
Yeah.
With Rebo, a warmer fermentation can bring out more of those complex and spicy notes.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so it adds another layer of intrigue to the wine.
So temperature is like another tool in the winemaker's toolbox.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
To, help them create different flavor profiles.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
So maceration, fermentation, what comes next?
Well, at this point, some wines are bottled directly,
Oh, really?
especially those that are meant to be enjoyed young and fresh.
Oh, but a lot of wines, particularly those that have aging potential,
Yeah.
they take a little detour to oak barrels.
Now we're talking oak barrels.
Yes.
I always think of oak as like vanilla,
Yeah.
and I taste it in the wine.
Yeah, it adds this whole new dimension to the wine.
Okay.
The barrels impart flavors like vanilla spice toast, even coconut,
Wow.
depending on the type of oak used.
It's like adding seasoning to a dish.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But, our sources mention that Rebo actually does best in used or mixed age barrels.
Why is that?
Well, because new oak barrels can be really powerful.
Okay.
And, with Rebo, it's got that delicate fruit character.
Right.
You don't want to overpower those beautiful berry notes.
You want them to shine.
Exactly. It's all about balance.
Yeah.
So the winemaker carefully chooses the type of oak
Right.
and how long the wine spends in the barrel
Okay.
to get just the right effect.
Yeah. So it's like another, artistic decision they're making. It's like another layer of artistic expression.
Exactly. Okay, so it's been in the barrel.
Yes.
It's done all this stuff.
Yeah. And during that aging process, the wine is going through this slow transformation.
Okay.
Those flavors meld and harmonize.
Mm.
The tannins soften. New aromas kind of emerge.
Okay, so paint me a picture.
Okay.
I pour myself a glass of Rebo.
All right. So you pour yourself a glass of Rebo.
Okay.
First, you'll notice this beautiful ruby red color,
Okay.
sometimes with hints of violet.
Oh.
And then as you swirl the glass
Mm-hmm.
and inhale those aromas, you're going to be greeted by this symphony of fresh red berries. Ooh. Juicy cherries, raspberries, maybe even a touch of strawberry.
It sounds like a fruit salad
It does.
and a glass.
In a glass.
Yeah.
But there's more.
Wow.
Often you'll find these delicate floral notes kind of woven into those berry aromas.
Oh, yeah.
Hints of violet or rose petals.
So it's fruity and floral.
It is.
Okay, that's a lovely combination.
It is a beautiful combination. And then you take that first sip. Yeah.
Those vibrant berry flavors come alive on your palate.
Okay.
And they're often accompanied by these subtle spice notes.
Oh.
A touch of black pepper, maybe a hint of cinnamon.
So it's not just fruity, it's got complexity.
It does.
It's got depth.
It has depth, it has complexity. The tannins are soft and approachable.
Okay.
The acidity provides this refreshing lift.
Yeah.
It's a wine that can be enjoyed young, but it also has the structure to age gracefully.
If you're patient.
If you're patient.
Okay, this is making me want to go out and buy a bottle of Rebo.
You should.
I will.
You should.
But before we do that, I'm curious.
Yeah.
So we know Rebo started in Italy,
Mm-hmm.
but is it grown anywhere else in the world?
That's a great question. And you know, one thing that makes Rebo so exciting is that it's still relatively young in the wine world.
Okay.
So there's so much room for experimentation for winemakers to put their own stamp on it.
I like that.
Yeah, you know, it's like a blank canvas for creativity. And one of the most interesting success stories is actually happening in Brazil. Brazil.
That's surprising. I don't really think of Brazil
No.
as a wine country.
You know, it might not be the first place that comes to mind,
Right.
but Brazil actually has this thriving wine industry,
Really?
particularly in the Saragossa region.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what makes Brazil a good place to grow Rebo?
Well, the Saragossa shares some key climatic similarities
Okay.
with Trentino.
Okay.
You know, those temperate conditions that Rebo loves.
So it's like Rebo found a second home
It did.
in Brazil.
Exactly. And the wines coming out of Brazil are really exciting.
Oh, cool.
They really showcase Rebo's versatility and adaptability,
Mm-hmm.
you know, proving that this grape can thrive in different terroirs
Okay.
and express, you know, unique characteristics.
So Rebo is a bit of a globetrotter,
It is.
making its mark on
Okay.
the international wine scene.
It's a world traveler.
I like it.
Yeah.
Are there other countries that are kind of catching on
Yeah, absolutely.
to the Rebo train?
We're also seeing plantings in Argentina,
Okay.
Uruguay, and even some regions in the United States.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So winemakers around the world are starting to recognize Rebo's potential.
Okay, before we get ahead of ourselves,
Yes.
let's just recap Rebo's journey.
Right.
So we started with, those carefully tended vineyards.
Yes.
Then we dove into the intricacies of winemaking.
Right.
From maceration and fermentation
Yes.
to oak aging,
And all those nuances.
all the nuances.
Yes. Right.
Yeah, and then we talked about the flavor profile.
Yeah, those delightful berry notes.
Yeah, the subtle floral hints.
Yes.
And then the spice undertones.
It's a wine that truly engages all the senses.
And we traced Rebo's journey beyond Italy,
We did.
highlighting its success in Brazil
Mm-hmm.
and, other wine regions of the world.
Yeah, it's a story that's still unfolding.
Yeah, it is.
It really is.
It's very exciting.
Yeah, so in our final segment, we'll explore the future of Rebo. You know, the trends that are shaping its trajectory.
Yeah.
The innovations that winemakers are exploring.
Yeah.
And the challenges that it faces
Yeah.
in this ever-evolving world of wine.
So stay with us to uncover what lies ahead for this intriguing and adaptable grape.
There's much more to discover.
There is. All right, so we've explored Rebo's, Italian heritage, its journey from vineyard to bottle, and even its surprising success in Brazil.
Yep, it's been quite the adventure.
It has, but now I want to look ahead to the future.
Yeah.
What does the future hold for this globe-trotting grape?
Well, you know, one thing that makes Rebo so exciting is that it's still relatively young
Okay.
in the wine world.
Okay.
There's so much room for experimentation,
Yeah.
for winemakers to really put their own stamp on it.
It's like a blank canvas for creativity.
Exactly.
I love that. And our sources mentioned some pretty cool trends, like using different kinds of containers for fermentation.
Yeah.
What's that all about?
Well, instead of those classic stainless steel tanks,
Right.
some winemakers are turning to things like clay amphorae,
Oh, wow.
which can add these really interesting earthy notes to the wine.
Really?
And then there are those concrete egg-shaped vessels.
Huh.
You know, they're thought to create a smoother, rounder texture in the wine.
So it's not just about the grape itself, it's about how the winemakers are approaching it.
Yeah. It's like Rebo is inspiring a new wave of innovation in winemaking.
I like that.
Yeah.
And speaking of innovation, there's another big trend happening in the Rebo world.
Yeah.
Let me guess, sustainability.
You got it.
It seems like that's a huge focus for a lot of winemakers these days.
It is, and Rebo producers are definitely on board.
Yeah.
We're seeing a real emphasis on organic and biodynamic practices
Okay.
with a focus on biodiversity and soil health.
Which makes sense, right? Healthier vines,
Absolutely.
healthier grapes, healthier wine.
Exactly. It's a win-win-win for the environment, the winemakers and the people enjoying those delicious wines.
I love it.
Okay.
Okay, so Rebo has got the innovation. It's got the sustainability. But can it really make it big? Can it become a household name, like Merlot or Cabernet Sauvignon?
That's the big question, isn't it?
It is.
And honestly, I think it has all the potential.
Yeah.
Rebo is versatile, it pairs beautifully with food,
Yeah.
and the wines are just plain delicious.
And let's not forget that really cool origin story.
Oh, yeah.
A professor creates this brand new grape,
Right.
blends the best qualities of two others.
Yeah. It's a great story. I think
Yeah.
it deserves to be told.
It does. But, the biggest challenge for Rebo right now is simply getting the word out.
Yeah.
It needs to kind of break out of its niche and
Right.
capture the attention of a wider audience.
So it needs like a good PR team, a celebrity endorsement.
Maybe.
I'm kidding. But seriously, it sounds like the key is just getting people to try it.
Exactly. Once people experience those unique flavors and aromas, they'll be hooked.
Yeah. And that's where we as, enthusiastic wine lovers can play a role.
Seek out a bottle, spread the word, share the Rebo love.
Exactly.
I like it. And as you savor that glass of Rebo, remember that you're not just tasting wine, you're tasting the culmination of, generations of winemaking knowledge, the spirit of innovation, and the promise of this truly remarkable grape.
Well said.
So to all you listeners out there,
Yes.
we encourage you to embark on your own Rebo adventure.
Yes.
Who knows, you might just discover your new favorite wine.
Cheers to that.
Cheers! And until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep into the fascinating world around us.